You ever get the feeling that people have already decided who you are before you even open your mouth? That was me, walking into Miller and Son's Auto Plaza, holding a folder that looked about as tired as I felt. Second-hand shoes squeaking on that marble floor, just waiting for someone to point out how out of place I looked. The receptionist barely glanced up before hitting me with that voice. Sharp, cold. "You're Chuck Hayes's daughter, the janitor?" Like she wanted the whole lobby to hear. And man, did they hear. A couple of sales guys in their shiny suits just about burst out laughing, betting how long I'd last before they kicked me out. I was there for an interview, and I meant it. I'd worked my tail off for the chance, and I wasn't leaving until someone told me no to my face. But then the security guard stepped right in front of me, not rude, just acting like he didn't even see me as a real candidate. "No unauthorized visitors," he said, waving me toward a plastic chair like I was someone's lost kid. For a second, I almost turned back, thought about just sparing myself the embarrassment. But sometimes, when you've spent your whole life being overlooked, you get tired of running. So I stood my ground. Right then, the CEO, Mr. Donovan, burst out of his office, looking ready to tear someone's head off. "Who here can actually fix this mess?" he boomed, waving a fat report in the air. Everybody went silent, and then his eyes landed right on me, like he was just now realizing I was in the room. "You," he said, "think you can do better?" My heart nearly jumped out of my chest, but I nodded, asking him for 5 minutes with the report. Maybe it was the desperation in his eyes, or maybe he just wanted to see me fail. But he waved me into the conference room. So there I was, surrounded by analysts who looked at me like I'd wandered in from the street. "Does she even know what she's looking at?" one whispered. I pretended not to hear. Instead, I focused on the numbers. My comfort zone, you know. My dad always said, "You want to know how a place really works? Follow the numbers." And I had, night after night, teaching myself the ropes with nothing but old reports and stubbornness. It didn't take long to find the problem. Someone had missed a contract expiration in the supply chain, which threw off every projection in the report. It was hidden, yeah, but it wasn't invisible. I marked it up, scribbled out a quick correction, and handed it back to Donovan, hoping my hands weren't shaking too much. He checked it, called his assistant to verify, and, for the first time, I saw respect flicker in his eyes. "You're right," he said. "Cancel the rest of the interviews." Then he told the analysts to clear out, and just like that, I was hired on the spot. Walking past that lobby again, I caught the receptionist staring, mouth open, and I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel good. But the real test came after. Donovan put me in charge of a team, said it was my job to make sure mistakes like that never happened again. Only problem was, most of my new colleagues remembered me as the janitor's daughter. If they remembered me at all. The resistance was real. Meetings where people rolled their eyes, side conversations that stopped when I walked in, little digs about how I lucked out getting the job. You know what I mean? There's always somebody who wants you to fail just so they can feel right. But I kept showing up, kept digging into the data, kept asking questions they hadn't thought to ask. Little by little, a few people started coming around. Jasmine, one of the senior analysts, came up to me after a tough week and said, "I don't know how you spotted that error, but I'm glad you did." That meant something. We started rebuilding the audit system together. No more letting things slide. No more pretending not to notice problems. Of course, not everyone wanted to change. Turns out, one manager, Mr. Holloway, had been playing favorites and hiding other people's work for years. When the internal review brought all that out, Donovan called him into a meeting and fired him right there, told the whole office that merit mattered more than connections or old grudges. The atmosphere in the building changed after that. People started greeting me in the hall. Even the receptionist, her voice softer, pulled me aside one morning. "I was wrong about you," she said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Most people are," I told her, "until they see the results." A few weeks later, I had to present my new audit system to the board. Biggest thing I'd ever done. I was nervous, no lie, but I walked them through every step, showed how we'd stop these mistakes for good. One of the board members asked, "Where'd you get your degree?" I just smiled and said, "Right here, after hours, when no one was watching." Donovan backed me up, told them I'd earned every bit of my place. They approved the system and put me in charge of the new department. That night, I texted my dad, told him I'd been promoted. He just wrote back, "I always knew you would be. They finally caught up." Next morning, the security guard who once blocked my way opened the door for me, nodding like he knew I belonged. Funny how quickly people change once you prove them wrong. Standing in my new office, looking out at the city, I thought about how this place used to feel like a wall I'd never climb. Now, it felt like a starting line. I made it, not because someone gave me permission, but because I refused to let their expectations box me in. Maybe you've felt that way too, pushed aside, counted out, waiting for your shot. I'm here to tell you, it's not about where you start. It's about how hard you fight, how much you believe in yourself, even when nobody else does. Now let's stir it up a little. Was Donovan right to fire the whole team? Should your past really matter, or just what you can do right now? Ever been underestimated and come out on top? Drop your story in the comments. I want to hear if you've ever flipped the script like that. Let's keep this conversation real.